You know, someone asked me a while back, a couple of weeks ago, who's the most horrible piece of shit you ever met in prison? And there's a few candidates, and this guy is the candidate, and in the CSE in particular. But there was a few. Ashley Liebird from Leicester. I really didn't like that cunt. But it depends on how you define it. Is it by what they've done and what they're in for, or just how they present as a person? Because I've met some people, regardless of what they're in for, are just scum and will always be. But this guy, Neil Wilkinson, I first met him in Strangeways in the block in Christmas 2006. And I actually felt sorry for him at first. And I used to speak to him because I was on the unit, I was on accumulated visits. And here's where he was. I'm just going to get this map up. And just get this map up here of Strangeways. And this is where the seg is. Let me just find the seg. Here it is. So this is the seg yard. And those three on the left, at the time, used to be one big yard. So everyone who would just go on the yard and walk around that yard together. This small yard here was where I used to go on the yard. That little bit in the middle behind the gate is where the screws would sit. And the window here, it's a bit fuzzy, but there's one. The top two landings is the non-swing. The bottom two is the seg. And where that little window is with the green caging, that's the cell he was in. So when I'm on that yard, he's the only actual person I could speak to. That one on the left of it is the showers. And he said he was down the block because he was gay and he's getting a hard time on a wing and he's not going on the numbers because he's not a nonce and he don't want to mix with him. So because I was on that yard, I used to think, well, fair play to him. He was from Didsbury in Manchester, which is a posh area, and the guy was not a criminal or whatsoever. But I just used to speak to him because I felt sorry for him. Anyway, he comes to Wakefield a couple of years later. So we're in about August 2008. I'm on accumulated visits. And I'm just going for my dinner. I'm going to the server and I walk past his door and it's got Neil Wilkinson with a cat A outside his door. And I'm thinking, fuck, he didn't have it in him to be a cat A. But back then you could tell from someone's prison number if you knew the prison. I think Strangeways was HH for that time. And I thought, well, it's got to be the same guy. So I'm on the yard in the afternoon. I'm saying, like, well, what's happened? What's happened? How come you catty? And he went, oh, there was just another incident at my last jail. Don't really want to talk about it. And I thought, well, the screws have sat right there. So, yeah, maybe he doesn't want to speak about it. Someone said, like, well, what jail was that at? And he said, Whatton. But I thought he said Whatton in Liverpool. But if I would have known at the time, Whatton is a sex offenders only prison, which obviously means he was a sex offender during that short period in Christmas 2006 when I used to speak to him. Which I later found out he was doing 7-year sentence for raping a man at knife point. And as I later caught in the newspaper, this was the so-called incident. It says a 28-year-old prisoner from Manchester has admitted that he murdered a fellow inmate in a jail. Neil Wilkinson has been charged with raping and murdering Stephen Hartley at HMP Whatton last August. Hartley, 28, was also an inmate at the prison, which specialises in housing sex offenders. Wilkinson admitted murdering Hartley but denied raping him. There was another newspaper article as well, which apparently he had boasted to other prisoners on that day that he's going to have sex with his cellmate tonight, no matter what. He actually came to Woodhill CSC unit, but I was in Whitemore CSC unit at the time. But by all accounts, no one spoke to him and he just acted like a drama queen.